Welcome back. Welcome back to the Detroit is Different podcast studios. Tis the season. I know a lot of you are thinking to yourself, why do I stay here? Why am I digging out snow, throwing down salt, getting all of my good clothes dusty at the bottom and scuffy? You know you love the city. You know you love the experience. And guess what? The guest in studio today helps you with stuff like that because you can still live here and go other places, right? So, talking about traveling and traveling so much and a connection to traveling, she got a lot of experience in it. Imani Elie, how are you today?
Hey, I'm doing good, Kyrie.
Yes,
Nice to meet you too.
same.
Hmm?
All right. So, with this, we always start these journeys where we talk about Detroit stories. And your Detroit story before we get you go all around the world.
Right.
But before we talk about all around the world, Detroit, where you'll start. How many generations deep are your people to my city?
My people are my mama, grandma, great grandma, great great grandma, great 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 grandma
Wait, time out,
here
time out,
in
time out,
Michigan.
time out, time out, time out, time out, time out. We got to go generations deep. So that's mama.
Mm-hmm.
So that means that's two.
Okay.
Grandma,
Grandma,
three. And I'm including you.
great grandma,
Great grandma, four. Great,
great great
great.
grandma. That's four. Also four generations.
Okay. All right.
Mm-hmm.
From where? Where are the roots that led up this way?
So my mom's side, her roots go back to Mississippi and Oklahoma,
Mm,
where the furthest grandma back I can go back to, she was Cherokee Indian.
mm,
She was on the National Archives and everything. I did that through ancestry.com,
mm,
by the way. And then my dad's side. So my dad's side go back to Haiti, St. Lucia,
mm,
came over here to Philly, New York. And then you have my dad's mom's side, who was Virginia, Maryland. You can see they slave records.
mm,
Mhm.
Okay. All right. So it's like a lot of just American history in your backstory. Because I'm guessing if we're talking about Cherokee, Oklahoma, we talking about that Trail of Tears. And then you talk about St. Lucia, Haiti.
So that's my dad's side. So
Hmm.
and I just be finding cousins on Facebook and stuff.
I know.
Mhm.
They'd be like, suck pussy.
So most of them don't even speak Haitian or anything because they grew up here in America.
Okay. All right. And now let's talk about the city. Your
Mhm.
peoples.
Mm.
What side of town? What neighborhood?
So I'm from the east side,
Mhm.
born and raised, 6 Mile, Gratiot,
Okay.
Park Grove area. So that's still where most of my Detroit dad side lives. Some of my mom's side sprinkle. My mom's side, they was mostly from like what's that? Canton, and Mac area.
Okay.
S- So east side, born and raised, still kind of reside. I guess some suburbs east side right now.
All right. All right. And
So
then that part of the east side is, as I always run the joke, everybody on the east side live near the airport. That actually is by the airport.
technically that's right by the city airport. That's let's be real, back in the day, that was the airport too, so
Yeah. All right. So that neighborhood, that's where your family was at. Did you grow up over that way? Where were you growing up?
so I did grow up on the east side of Detroit up until I was in the ninth grade.
Mhm.
I moved to Westland. I went to John Glenn High School,
Mhm.
where I was able to get accepted into every college I applied to,
Okay.
which was the plus. But I went to DPS schools. I remember I went to Clark Elementary,
Mm,
went to Hanstein Elementary, I went to Marquette,
mm.
I went to King.
KC.
Yep.
Okay. All right. Now, when you talk about that area and your fam, what do you remember about the neighborhood growing up as a kid?
I just remember, whether it was 6 Mile and Gratiot or East Warren, being able to walk to the store safely and come back home. I remember the ice cream truck, Mr. Softy, coming up and down the street. I remember being able to play outside in the middle of the street and watch people play basketball. I remember us having the street shut down for block parties with the bouncers and the toys and the barbecue
The
grills.
block parties. Who
Mm.
who was doing the block parties? Was that like
It
a
was
group?
more so associated with everybody on the block, like the mothers and the grandmas,
Mm.
and everybody would talk to each other and see who bringing what. That's really what happened.
Oh, so it was like really of the neighborhood, not necessarily like an organization coming over there. It was almost like
We
Your
all
grandma.
decided, "Let's pick a day in the summer before the kids go back to school
Hmm.
to have a block party."
Okay, cool. Now that
Mhm.
that sounds very community. We love
Yep.
that here at
And
Detroit.
nothing used to happen. It'll go from morning to night. The police will ride past. They might stop by. Like, it was very, organized and peaceful.
They stop, get some free food.
Mhm.
Look at that. Look at that. All right. So then you moved to Westland.
Yep.
What was Westland like for you?
Westland felt like, the TV show Degrassi? That's what it felt like.
Mm,
So to give you an idea because you never seen it, I would say a mixed school, predominantly white, but sprinkles of Chaldean and, but mostly a mixed and white school, mixed race couples and everything, but you got to eat outside. The lunch was very different. They had free lunch, but then they had lunch where you can buy anything you wanted, from
mm,
fries, burgers, wraps, ice cream, and then we had a store where they made, like, fresh cookies and slush and everything every day. We didn't have to wear a uniform.
mm.
So that was something else.
A bonus.
That was a bonus. It wasn't, no bullying because of how you dress. You had the weird couples in the hallway that'd be wearing the, Pikachu costumes, cuddled up, and then you had the emo goth couples
Time
just
out.
always making it out in front of your locker.
Time out. Time out. Time out. You had people in. Yeah. Now that seems like even if you could wear whatever, people may be like, "Hey, man, you got a whole mascot costume on."
Yes, there was the drama club always would randomly wear different themed costumes to school. So
Mm,
sometimes they'd come to school dressed like the Wizard of Oz cast. Then there'd be Veggie Tales. Like, it was so weird, but it was a
that
fun school.
that definitely sounds like something off of television.
It was a fun school. We didn't have metal detectors.
Mm,
Most of the kids there had cars.
mm. Okay.
So,
All right. After graduation, where you go?
I went to Wayne State for 2 years before going to the Navy, and I love Wayne State.
What did you take up at Wayne State, and why did you choose Wayne?
So I was doing music composition. That's what I originally wanted to do. I sung all my life, traveled, did competitions. But I chose Wayne State because it was local and my mom gave me an ultimatum, so I had to go to Wayne State.
Mm.
I was a year younger than all of my peers. I skipped a grade. So it was more so a maturity thing too, hindsight. So I did enjoy going to Wayne State. I met a lot of people there, influential people here, influencers, people who are politicians. I love going to Wayne State, and then I
So
went to the Navy.
so you talk about skipping a grade. You were double promoted.
Yes.
When were you double promoted?
No, that was a stigma in the Black community. When I was in 3rd grade.
Okay, so in third grade, it was like you too smart for
Oh,
this.
so no, in 2nd grade. I was too smart for 2nd grade. They
Yes.
put me in 3rd grade, which I really was. Sorry, my mom's a teacher,
Hmm.
retired now, but she was a teacher. All of my sisters were older than me. I was writing in cursive at 5.
Wow.
I was being exposed to different cities and countries at an early age, so I think I was just advanced.
Yeah. So they was like introducing addition, and you like I'm doing multiplication.
I wanna do what my sister's doing.
Okay.
So,
All right. I didn't even ask about that. How many sisters?
my mom has 4 kids.
Okay.
So 3 girls, 1 boy. I'm the 3rd, and then my little brother.
Okay. So you
Um
just keeping up with your older sisters. How much older?
so the closest sister to me is 2 years older than me.
Okay. All
Mhm.
right. So they was like when you were younger, I know they was like, oh, always. But you always kind of had a beat to kind of stay pace with them, or were y'all just always kind of running together?
Um, I was the baby, so it was them versus me. Even though they had to take me everywhere and I had to do everything with them.
Okay. All
So they
right.
was dressed the same, and I had my own outfit,
Hmm.
but I still had to come with them.
Okay. All right. So kid sister. And then that's the staying pace of keeping pace, being younger around older people has set forth for like a lot of people just moving faster in life. And when I say faster, meaning like athletes, usually like a lot of professional athletes have older brothers that like help them, because you playing basketball with your brothers and they 2 years older. So you're keeping pace. So you're reading, you're writing, you're doing homework, whatever they're doing is kind of setting the pace for you.
Mhm.
What other ways do you think that's impacted you in life where you kind of keeping pace faster than most would have has helped you with kinda already excelling and taking on more challenges?
I think that just because I knew and everyone around me through high school college and everybody around me knew I was younger than them. I just wanted to be as good as they were or better,
Mhm.
if that makes sense. So, if everybody here getting an A on their spelling test, oh, Imma get the spelling words plus the bonus words right, or Imma be doing extra work or volunteering to do extra work and doing extra stuff because I want y'all to see that I'm not no little kid, I'm not a little girl. Um, I can keep up with you all and, like, just when it came to, like, hanging out, like, I'm not a kid, I can keep up with y'all, I can what is it, for lack of better words, um, I can, like, keep up with the big dogs, if that's all I can really put it to, and it wasn't really peer pressure, it was more so, like, I wanna fit in, 'cause
Mm.
I know I'm younger.
Okay. All right. So now you transition to Wayne State. Your mom had the ultimatum, and I'm guessing what was the ultimatum?
You can't go to Michigan State 'cause that's too far,
Mm,
you too young, all they do is party there.
mm,
I couldn't go to, I don't even remember what school it was, but it was in, like, Rhode Island or something. You can't go there because you're gonna waste my money, and you're not gonna be focused, and you just gonna cry, complain, and say you wanna come home. So, it was valid things I really did, but as a child, I wasn't seeing, like, these are valid points. Um, so I ended up going to Wayne State.
all right, and you actually enjoyed the experience.
Mhm,
And singing, music was one of those loves that you had. When did you
mhm.
start singing?
I started singing as a kid in church,
Mm,
like a cliche black, thing, but yes, I started singing in church.
okay. When did you recognize that you were good at singing?
I recognized that I was good at singing in 7th grade because, every time there was a concert or a talent show or anything, they always chose me and 2 other girls to sing.
Mhm.
And we were like the Destiny's Child of
Of
the
your
school.
school. Okay.
Yes. So every one of us had a range, and we would each have solo parts, and when I would see it played back and things like that, I was like, "Oh, I really can sing." Like,
Mm.
I don't have just a bathroom voice, and then you have my big sisters always telling me, "Oh, girl, you can't sing. Stop singing." But that's what sisters do. But that's when I realized it.
Hating on you.
And then I started getting awards going into, high school and stuff, so then I really realized, "No, girl, you can sing."
Okay. All right, and bathroom voice. What's a
Mhm.
bathroom voice?
You know, the acoustic, like the hallway, your voice carries, is louder,
Mhm.
so it sounds like you're holding a tune
Okay.
better.
But you actually held the tune.
Yeah.
And you chose that in school. What was it like, in college, taking that up as a discipline, learning the composition there?
So I didn't start those classes until the 2nd year, my 2nd semester of the 2nd year. So before that, it was just me doing my academic, basic requirements. But
Mhm.
I was still singing in my free time with my friends in the community and people who were like known singers and writing music. I was highlight. I was an intern for Warner Brothers in 2012, so that was my 2nd year of college, and I got to meet Meek Mill, and I got to go on their tour,
Mm.
and I got to meet like what was his name? He was a rapper. Gee, don't ask me, but he was under, like, the MMG and their brand and stuff. I got to go to a couple of concerts and events, and I was still underage. I wasn't even 21 yet, but I was over 18.
Okay.
Um, but that's something I did get to do because I went to Wayne State and was in that program.
Okay. All right. So you actually travel with that, what you
Mhm.
like to do. So from Wayne State to Navy, what drew you to the Navy?
So dun, dun, dun. Okay. After my 2nd year at Wayne State, I dropped a class that was a requirement for the program that I was in. So I was in a program that I was admitted in to go to that college, and my advisor didn't know that tell me that it was required, and I dropped it or withdrew from the class. So I couldn't go there no more.
Mm,
Yeah. So
that seems
what
harsh.
I did was I took up a 9-month program to become a dental assistant at Ross Medical, and I graduated and I decided to go to the Navy because I knew the recruiter. He guaranteed me I was gonna get it the same job, which I did. Um, and so I'm like, "This is a good idea because I'm gonna be able to get the rest of my education paid for. I get to travel, something I love doing, and I also could, like, get my mind together because 'cause I was going through, like, some discipline issues as far as, like, teetering between being an adult and a kid. So I'm 19, and I'm trying to show y'all that I'm an adult, but I'm still getting treated like a child. So, I felt like that was the right decision for me at the time. I didn't have any kids. I was always spontaneous and daring, so it was something I really wanted to do.
Okay. Now, I'm guessing the response from, like, your mom and your sisters, what was their response?
Um, my sisters were just they was happy. They was like, "Okay." That's just what their response was. My mom was, like, very triggered because I had a cousin who was a Marine that died while he was active duty
Mm.
during a bike accident. So my mom was touchy about that. My grandma, she was like, "Girl, you gonna die."
Oh, man.
She's like, "Don't do that." Um, but me, I guess as a rebellious spirit, I did it anyways.
Okay. All right, where do you go? Where's your first, after basic training, where are you stationed?
I'm stationed in San Antonio, Texas, the pit of American hell. It's hot as hell. It's so hot, but it's humid as well, so it's unbearing. Especially after I'm sorry, after it rain, it's just you can't breathe. Even in the winter, it's cold in the morning and hot during the day.
Okay.
So,
Yeah, and it's a lot of bases down that way. I mean, a lot of the military people I know are Spurs fans. Like, if you meet a black Spurs fan sometimes, you'll be like,
man.
"How you a It's like, "Oh, you in the military."
So we had fun that year though, because I think that was the year that the Spurs were in the, playoffs or the
Championship.
finals. Yep,
Mhm.
so we did go to a game. We didn't have to pay for the tickets.
There you go.
Um, what else? The suburbs there were nice. I can see why people moved to Texas
Mhm,
because they are nice. You got Six Flags. I think they were, like, one of the first ones outside of Georgia with a Chick-fil-A.
mhm.
They have really nice malls. They have really nice just communities, and they're not overly expensive. You
Okay,
get more for your money. But Texas was nice. You got to drive, up to Austin or go drive over to Dallas or drive down to Corpus Christi.
okay. And what did you do in the military? Your role was?
I was a hospital corpsman when I was in Texas, so I was going to school to be a dental assistant, what I already went to school for.
Mm,
So I overexcelled there.
once
Um,
again, double
yeah,
promoted.
yes, controversy there though. I got the highest GPA, got to go to Italy, and then they took away my orders, and I got sent to a aircraft carrier. That's how I ended up on the ship.
Okay. Alright, and the ship, where were you going on the ship?
So ship stationed in Norfolk, but 9-month deployment over to the Middle East
Mm,
to do air operations. So I was an aircraft carrier. The
mm,
job is to launch and recover aircraft.
okay. Now, Middle East, it's a lot of conflicts America's had in the Middle East. Whereabouts?
So I was there during like the Syria conflict.
Mm,
So Mediterranean and Persian Gulf.
mm,
So Mediterranean would be around Italy, Turkey, all the way up to the Suez Canal, which would be Egypt, Saudi Arabia. Then
mm.
we go around to really the other ships, which would be around Dubai, Oman,
Uh,
Bahrain.
during this time, because so much is happening, especially when we think of even what's recently happened in Syria, we're talking about an Obama administration, that and, Assad and a lot of, like, political maneuvers that sometimes we hear about on the news here. I'm guessing being on that carrier, it's a whole different lens of, like, what's happening between interacting with the people, interacting with the troops on board, interacting with the people that are coming back to the ship. What was it like being in that space?
A movie. I am writing a book because it was a movie. I just remember so vividly the moment that I got on the ship. I got flown onto the ship during a storm, and it just felt like I was in Vietnam.
Mm,
I didn't know that when I went to the Navy, we were still at war because media shows that the war has ended. So when I got there, they're launching recovering aircraft or whatever. We're one of those, but their job was to launch jets, to drop bombs, and come home. That's what we did on deployment the entire time. Right now, they're still dropping bombs. So we think that, and it's not a secret. It's just what media choose to highlight at what point in time.
well, I think it's the lens, when we
That we're
really think about, a shift in media, in American media after Vietnam. because Vietnam was almost, when we look at it, the first war where you have color television. And we can even see those clips through a lot of like the documentaries. What Ken Burns has offered, a lot of the work of Oliver Stone and many others. You can see the bodies and the bombing and so much, where after that conflict, it was a very intentional shift to say, okay, moving forward, we're not going to show this horror of war. We'll kind of show it more so from the political lens. So you'll see Congress people and senators and presidents talking about conflicts. You may see a shot of a bomb dropping and landing, but you're not seeing the day to day realities of American soldiers coming back with lost limbs and so many families and villages like being destroyed and destructed from what's happening now through social media and definitely Twitter.
Mm.
It's more seen, but it's not given a platform and a stage of the news, because the news will talk about what's happening in Syria, and it looks more like a political discussion and not, oh, people are at risk of losing their life and losing lives every day. So that's, I want to frame that for the people watching.
Okay, and I completely understand that it's the lens that we're looking through where
Hmm.
we get, accessible to our eye. But, outside from that, my experience on a, ship was just very, action-packed, thrilling, eventful, memorable. I felt like I was, still in college, but because I was away from my family, I was still going to school and doing certain classes while I was on the ship. The ship was big. Let me just tell you, my ship held 5,000 people. That's, Navy, Marines, civilians. We had, like, 4 different places to wash, have laundry rooms on our ship. We had a library, a computer lab. We had, events on the flight deck called Still Beach Picnic, where we just had barbecue grills and DJs and all kind of stuff. Like, they made sure we had a good time. Like, I can't even really go into detail, but there was, medical emergencies, things that you witnessed that was like, "Wow, I can't believe that just happened right in front of me."
Mm,
Um, you got to see the pretty stuff, like the water, would be photoluminescent and glowing from the plankton at night. Get to see shooting stars all the time, whales,
mm,
sea turtles that we had to save.
mm.
So, we got to see and experience a lot.
All right, and then I always thought this, even from being on the carrier, the
Mhm.
dangers and just the reality of being in motion like that. How did your body address just in the equilibrium? I mean, people on cruises sometimes have issues with that. How did your body adjust to just not always being like on land and being in water?
So I can remember the first time I got on the ship, I was sick for like a day and a half. I had motion sickness because it was a storm. I could feel it. I wasn't accustomed to be on the ship. But because I was on an aircraft carrier, it's like a Chrysler plant on water.
Mhm,
So I didn't feel it after a certain amount of time. I
mhm,
only felt it because I seen it and had to walk on the ship during it. And I had a hangover the night before, so I was already throwing up on a plane.
mhm,
So um when you get off the ship and you go on land, it does feel different because we're walking in steel toe boots all day throughout the ship unless we're working out. So when you do put regular shoes on, you do feel different. The equilibrium isn't really off, but if you're on a small boy, which is like a smaller ship, a cruiser, a destroyer, they have more equilibrium issues because they feel everything that the water does.
mhm,
So I can't really comment on that for them because I wasn't on the small boy.
mhm.
But coming through the Atlantic, you feel everything. It's very rough. You feel everything, and I was sick the entire time coming back home.
So now we get into just traveling the world, and you're seeing different parts of the world. What was it like being and landing in places like Turkey and Dubai and just all those spaces and places that you're experiencing culture? And military, you're seeing things that even the average tourist won't see
Right.
being in the military.
So, I remember the first time going to Dubai, because we went 5 times, and I got to drive the ship, because I was a helmsman, drive the ship, up until a certain point to hand it off to a master helmsman so that they could navigate the rest of the way up into the port. Beautiful sightseeing, you can see the haze from the desert over certain skyline points of, the cities. So, Dubai is a desert. Let's just say that it's very much a desert, but it's beautiful when you get into town. And the most, surreal moment was getting on my first MAC flight to fly from country to country just to get to my ship. I couldn't believe it. I got to see all of these countries on long layovers for free.
Mm,
I went to Portugal. I went to an island in Portugal,
mm,
and the island was so small. I think the runway was the width of the, island,
mm,
and you see the sheep herders and the goats and stuff off over the hills, and that was just beautiful, like landing and takeoff.
mm.
You got the Then we went to Naples, you got to see the skyline of the mountain range and I guess the old volcano ranges. Beautiful because and I think Naples is where we're close to where Pompeii was. Um, where else? Greece. I just remember the food because I got there at night, but the food in Greece was delicious. It's as good as the Greek food here, but better. The air was clean and fresh. I felt like I was definitely living a surreal moment, and there was no way possible I would have ever touched these countries in my head then if I didn't go to the Navy. It just really opened up my senses to when I was a child watching Discovery Channel, reading different sections in social studies books, and like, "Oh my god, I always wanted to go there, but didn't think it was accessible or that I could touch it without going to the military."
Okay. And then also, the as they talk about the family atmosphere of a lot of other people walking that life. I'm sure you made bonds that still, that I'm guessing you still have. What was it like interacting with the other soldiers on board? I'm guessing the friendships and just getting to know some of their backgrounds, the people that served, at whatever tier they're at, people with more experience, less experience. What was that feel?
So, just interacting with people from all over the world was hilarious because you would think or have a certain connotation, in your head, like a preconceived notion for people from a certain place or a certain country, and I quickly removed stigmas in boot camp.
Hmm.
Because there were people smarter than me from another country, like, for example, I was side by side from boot camp up until the end of school with someone from the Philippines, and she was older than me, smarter than me, kinder, but cool and funny, and we really connected like big sister, little sister.
Hmm.
This Filipino woman and this African American girl from the east side of Detroit. I thought that was crazy how our bonds were and how we connected with different people from different parts of the world. Um, the negative I would say is you have cultural mindsets or things that we are embedded in our mind from our childhood when it comes to our character. So I do say that people from Detroit have a hard time with disrespect. If you were raised a certain type of way or you never broke from a certain type of mold, it's going to be hard for you to allow people to talk to you any kind of way because it's quote unquote disrespectful, or someone to treat you a certain type of way because it's disrespectful and you not respond or act on it. So I had issues with that around, I would say around like 2021, interacting with different women on like a immature, catty level because we were all around the same age and real cool and friends and like friends fall out. So that's the only thing that I experienced in the Navy as far as someone from a different background. And these people weren't from Detroit too.
Mhm.
So I felt like, oh, I'm never going to be able to deal with people from Baltimore
Yeah,
because I kept getting
because
into it with people from
of
Baltimore.
Keisha is never gonna have another conversation
But
with
that's
somebody
not
from Philly.
true. That's
Yeah, I
so
know.
not true. It's just a young-minded aspect back
Mhm,
then or mindset.
mhm,
Um, some of the people I would go to the most for help. Like, I met this girl, she was from Belize,
Hmm.
but she, grew up in Texas, black girl, and she was, like, the one that everybody called Holly Berry. She was beautiful, fine, coulda been a model. She was older, but she had so much, I guess, maturity and class about her. Everyone just instantly went to her for everything.
Hmm.
She was a really nice girl, and I think the fact that I was able to meet all these men and women from different places, it made me more well-rounded, and it made me think differently, less judgmental. Also, open to new foods and, definitely new food because I had something called peanut butter soup when I was in school, first year in the Navy, and I said peanut before I even tried it, I was rude. I'm like, "What is this mess?" But it was my friend from Ghana. Yes, he was from Ghana, and he said that's something they eat all the time, and I was like, "What?" We all, like, making fun, making jokes about it, and that is something I would eat every Sunday.
Yeah. And if people are interested in that, as you all know, what we do with Detroit is different. We have the International Food Marketplace with the My Natural Hair Show every year. And this past year, you had a peanut stew from Guyana and Ghana. So shout out to Fani's Bites and Jafani with what she did for Ghana and Guyana from A Thoughtful Plate. And yeah, when I tell you this, the peanut stew, you get the right amount of rice and it's cooked right. Psh, man,
Mm, I said, "Ooh, why didn't I grow up on this? Why didn't
amazing.
I?" I said,
Amazing.
"The name just throw you off because you think
Yeah.
about sweet peanut butter and thick." So good.
Yeah.
Y'all should try it.
Yeah, yeah. Now some stuff I wouldn't try, but that mm. So from there, Navy.
Mhm.
After Navy, where do you go? And what was the thought process leaving?
Thought process was I felt like I had to hurry up and find something to do.
Mm,
What am I do? Am I gonna be a flight attendant? Am I gonna work at the bank? Am I gonna continue to work at a hospital? I need to make money. What am I gonna do? I didn't know what to do.
mm,
Like, so I applied to be a flight attendant. I got the job, but then I didn't want to take it. I
mm.
did move back to Detroit and I decided to work with St. John Hospital to stay in the medical field, continue to make money as well, because it's something I like to do and I know how to do. Um,
Now let me say this. I gotta ask this question for all ex-military,
yes.
especially during more a little bit active duty. How did you make the adjustment from working with people that are in the service versus the general public of Americans? Because as a lot of my active duty friends sometimes say, we as Americans can be a little extra.
Mhm.
How did you make that shift?
I feel like I made the shift very easily because I'm a kind person and I give people respect. So I didn't have an issue. The only issue I had was the fact that I chose to work nights on
Mm,
the east side of Detroit.
okay. I'm
That was
sure
it.
very, very colorful. Very,
Yes,
very
yes.
colorful
So
experience.
I'm still who I am characterized, and I don't disrespect people or anything. I just had more experiences that I saw where I was just like, "Oh my god, I have to put this on my notebook as a laughing moment."
Hilarious.
Yeah.
I like it.
Mhm.
I'm sure it's very interesting things that come about. So now you're back in the D, working
Mhm.
at St. John's,
Mhm.
and we're here because you got a whole travel business. How
Yes.
does that start?
So in 2016, the year after I got out, I was looking at different ways I can start my own business. And I was like, what do I like to do? Me being the multifaceted person I am, I like to do a lot of things, but it wasn't a lot of things that I could see myself making money from as well. So I'm like, okay, I do want to start my own nail polish line. I want to start my own medical spa. I do wanna help people travel, but I'm like, "How do I do all of this?" Okay, I'm like, "Okay, I'm gonna have my own medical spa, and Imma be a travel agent." So, I needed to learn how to be a travel agent, how to educate people on different geographical experiences and things like that. So, one of my friends in the Navy, she introduced me to a company she was working for called Evolution. Long story short, they did give me some tips and things to do as far as marketing for your business online and getting new customers and drawing them in on social media. Because there is essentially tiers that you get up to, like mid level marketing. So I chose I didn't wanna do that because why am I paying every month to do something that y'all taught me how to do for free? So I took my education and I ran for it with, just learning how to get a license as my own business, how to continue my education and pay for my own classes to advance, my selling points and, get started with different, suppliers. So that's what I did.
All right, so now I have to go back to what was the passion that made you say, "I wanna own my own business?"
I never saw myself working for anybody. As a kid, I said, "I wanna be a celebrity because I don't wanna work for nobody." Not, "I wanna be a celebrity because I wanna sing or I wanna be an actress."
Mhm.
I always saw my daddy working for himself. I saw my goddad had his own shrimp place. I saw my auntie had her own hair salon. Everybody had their own businesses and knew how to make their own money, and I did not like to wake up when people told me to wake up.
All right, so let's and I didn't even
So
touch
that's
on
the
that
business.
story because
That's
we touched a little bit on your mom being a teacher. Your
mhm.
father owns his own business. What business?
My daddy has houses, so he's a landlord. My daddy got cars. My daddy has a, detailing/car wash. When I was a kid, my daddy didn't have a car wash. My daddy just always was, like, the go-to person to get something done. So if you needed, something done at your car wash, or you needed something fixed, or you needed a new house, or you needed, a mechanic. My daddy wasn't a mechanic, he wasn't none of that. He was just the middleman. I'm the person you go to get
Mm.
what you need.
So your dad, as many people can fulfill those roles, had a lot of I'm guessing probably strong gift of gab and great
Mm,
relationships with people that provide great services.
yep, including business owners in the, community, the people that own the stores, people that own the dollar store, the liquor store, the car wash, the, laundromat.
And you said your uncle had a fish establishment.
No, my goddad. So
God dad. Okay.
he's my pastor as well, but he owned a fish spot on the west
Okay.
side, so they had fish, shrimp,
Okay.
so I guess seafood,
All right. So that and then a aunt that had
a hair
a
salon.
salon.
Yeah, but we went there, like, almost every day after school. It was right on 7 Mile, but from there, she just continued to, like, excel in, like, business. She moved up to catering and banqueting doing banquet stuff, and that's what she does now, for, like, golf associations and different corporate companies and things like that.
So all this work is really just building the Legos and the steps as you're seeing, okay, entrepreneurship is not necessarily out of scope, it's
Mhm.
in scope. And like you say, you want to set your own schedule and your own
Yes,
pace.
yes,
So
yes.
the travel business, now we can get back to that.
Okay.
You do your studying, do the research, get into market. Who are some of your first customers and where are they going?
Who's my first customer? Oh, my first customer was me and some friends going on a group trip.
Okay. Group trips are always
Yes.
interesting.
We went to LA, and it was a very interesting group trip that I will not get into details of because it's like, read my book. Um, but, um, but seriously, it was me and 2 other guys, yep, 2 other guys, and then we included one more person the day after and then another guy 2 days later.
Okay.
So, I was in charge of the flights, the room, the, rental.
And group trips for anybody, even though and this is why I have a lot of,
Oh, the money was good. Everything went through. That was an issue, just
well, I'm gonna say this.
semantics.
I have a heart for so many teachers because even with adults, group trips show you that people are like children sometimes. Like when in my rapper days, when we used to do our tours, shout out to Khan. Um, it would be like herding cats. It's like these people are grown people. Like one person needs to go to the store to get deodorant, the other person got to get toothpaste. This person wants to eat at this restaurant in New York. This person got a friend out of town. It's like, look, man, it's 10 of y'all. I got to get y'all to a venue to rap
Mhm.
and back to Detroit. This is the schedule that is the schedule. You grown. You got to figure this out and stick to this. That right there is why I think group trips can always be interesting because somewhere between like someone will establish themselves as a leader
Mhm.
and people gonna always challenge what we doing.
And
You know what I'm
everybody got
saying?
different priorities,
Different
different
priorities,
wants.
where who got more money and not. You know what I'm saying? One person like, hey, we could just get the dollar menu. It's like, no, we're not. I'm not about to eat a dollar McDonald's sandwich
I coulda did
just
this
because
back
you
in
don't have any money. I am, and I'm not necessarily going to buy a $200 steak just because I'm out of town either. We're going to
Right.
stay in proximity. This was Kari on tour to the venue we're rapping in our hotel. Anything outside of that scope is a on you thing. And that was that
Close
was
commute.
yes, it was yeah, as you can see, those were some very fun trips. But yes, I know group trip dynamics are interesting.
Yeah. You kinda gotta be very close and cool and understand each other before you go on the trip.
Yeah, you
Kno
should be.
know the class of person you're hanging out with.
And not to mention, sometimes some people you get an Airbnb and you'll get there like at like 4 o'clock. It'll be like 4 p.m. and by 7 o'clock, their room looks like a tornado hit it. It's like, damn, we just walked in. What are you doing?
You didn't unpack and put it away, you just threw everything. Yes,
It's
yes.
like the Tasmanian devil of, you know what I'm saying? It just, broken toilets, all types of just, my bad. Yeah, I'm
No.
going back in
B
time.
I reminisce all the time, and I'm like, "You know, let's move forward."
Yeah, it's
So, yes.
interesting stories. You know what I'm saying?
I've
But
been there.
God bless them. God bless them.
I'm like, if I start talking, Imma get caught up in and caught away in the story, like, no.
Yes. So that's trip one. And it's like, okay, I'm gonna make some adjustments for by trip two.
Mhm.
What has been in this journey? Where do people usually want to go? What are the type of experiences that you're curating for people in travel?
A popular destination is Cancun.
Hmm,
Cancun is a popular destination no matter where you are in America because, of the routine, um, routes from any airline to from any major hub airport, whether it's, Detroit, Atlanta, Norfolk, Charlotte, Miami, Dallas. They have major hubs everywhere. Cancun is also usually a great place to go for all-inclusive destination, where you're getting all your needs and desires for food and beverage done on the resort. So only if you wanna spend money out in town do you need to on food. Some people only casually do if they decide to go out to a nice restaurant or somewhere they seen online. Cancun is also a highly, desired location because of the conversion rate from the US dollar to the peso, and then the, budgeted amounts or rather low amounts of fares to Cancun from any location.
okay. Where do you like to travel most?
Everybody always asks me, "Belize, why you love Belize?" Because if I didn't find love in Belize,
Hmm,
I don't got love there no more,
mm,
but, um I love Belize culture. I fit in. I'm Black. Everybody else there is Black or, of Mayan descent. Um, the American dollar is not, cheap there, so you get your money's worth in things. You could stay there for less than $1,300 a month and live good. The food, the air, waking up to the sounds of birds and not the sounds of cars. I could keep going.
okay.
I love the food, I love the people.
Okay. All right. So Belize is one of those places that you like.
Mhm.
In this, I know people would say, well, all the online options, what advantages are they getting from the curation of you with your experience versus just going to TripAdvisor?
With me, you get convenience. Everyone is paying for something in their day-to-day activities because it's convenient to them. Whether it's a maid or cleaner because you don't have the time, or someone to wash and do your hair because although you can do it yourself, you don't have the time. You're paying for convenience. The convenience of knowing someone is gonna book the trip like you would, scratch scratch every, pinpoint, like checking the reviews, looking at the check-in and checkout time, making sure I know if there's an incidental deposit fee or if there's a resort fee, letting them know, "Hey, if you wanted, to arrive with a special message or a sign, or if you wanted special arrangements made for decor and decorations, I can get that set up for you. I can encompass of all fees or additional unforeseen circumstances. And sometimes, depending on what you book through me or book me for, I can be available 24 hours a day.
Mm.
Things come up on trips.
Mhm.
Say you have travel protection. You don't wanna keep calling international or don't have the ability to keep calling back and forth international to get paperwork submitted for a travel claim, and now you're stuck an extra day in another country.
Ah, that can be.
Yeah, because that has happened in the past, but thankfully, I'm always able to convince people to get travel protection because I had a client who did get stuck in another country while getting a procedure done, and she needed someone to be her liaison
Mhm.
and communicate on her behalf. So, yes, what you get from me is convenience. You get, that sense of reliability, and you get a lower price point than what you would find on your own.
Hey, there you go. So that
Yes.
that sounds like it, as I'm a big late checkout guy, and
Mhm.
usually you're gonna get a no to late checkout most times,
Mhm.
because it's usually I'm thinking I want a late checkout, like, I don't know, the minute I check in.
Yeah, they like, "I wanna charge a fee." I can get you a late checkout during your reservation process, so you don't even have to add it on for an additional fee after the fact.
Mhm. Okay. And in these experiences, for what has it been? What have you learned more so about some of the customers, and what are, I would say, you mentioned Cancun. What are some things that you think that people need to keep in mind when booking travel, especially now? Right now, everybody's like, "Oh, I want to get on a plane."
Mhm.
What are things people need to keep in mind in traveling that you've learned?
I've learned in travel to dress comfortably and have a contingency plan. A contingency plan meaning if your flight is refundable, always have enough money to buy another fare because their airline might not have anything available within a reasonable time for you to get back home or get to where you're trying to go. Although airlines do offer things like food credits and somewhere to stay, they don't always offer you have to ask. Always ask for, so dress comfortably, plan for have a contingency plan. Always follow the contract or carriage laws, meaning if an airline delays your flight for 30 minutes or more due to something outside of the force of God, meaning weather. If it's not weather related and they delay your flight, then you have the right to redeem credits, whether it's travel credits or a cash value
Hmm.
for that delay.
Everybody that's flown Spirit in the past 25 years is
Any
like, "For real?
airline.
For real?"
Last year, I traveled on United. Probably paid like maybe 100 or $95 additional for each fare from having over $15,000 travel credits
Mm.
because they kept delaying different flights that I took the year previously.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Delta, you late dropping my bags off on the baggage carousel, I get an inconvenience fee.
I
When they
need
damage your
ugh,
luggage, file a claim.
ugh.
Not because they scratched some black luggage, but if your luggage was designer, you have a clear white mark going through the front of your luggage, file a claim.
Mm.
Like zippers broken on duffel bags, file a claim.
Mm. See, I needed you. I needed you. What was that?
Yes.
Last year going to Atlanta, it was or maybe 2 years ago. It was a part on my Delta flight, as I've had some of the worst Delta experiences. A part on a Delta flight that they had to fly another plane back to get it to fix the plane that was coming. It was like a 5-hour delay, and I was like,
Yeah, and that's not a force of God. That's a mechanical issue that y'all could
What
have
in the
foreseen
it's like,
or
what in
put
the
us on
frontier?
another flight.
It's like, what in the frontier is going on here?
Mhm.
The people I was meeting up with was like, "You still coming?" I was like, "I don't know."
And this is a true thing about Frontier and Spirit. A lot of people say bad things, but their planes are newer than all of the other airlines' planes.
Yeah, I definitely have seen that as catch the spirit. Though the
Mhm.
boy, oh boy, it's some interesting, colorful experiences that you can sometimes get on those
You
airlines.
do, and that's just the people that are flying. Sometimes at the airports, it's the people at the front, the gate, because of course people don't know they get commission. from charging you at that gate. So, and they not gonna let nothing pass unless they just having a good day, ready to get off work.
Okay. All right. So now we I guess, get into if a person wants to book, if somebody wants the service, what should
Mhm.
they do?
So if someone wants to book me, they can go to DetroitTravelCo.com. You will click on book now. There's a travel inquiry form where you can select or make special specifications on what you want me to know before I contact you. At the bottom, there's either going to be no charge because you're asking to book something that is already posted online or on our social media as a budgeted deal because we post deals all the time. Or you might have a fee associated with me planning your specific itinerary, or if you wanted destination event planning, which is setting up for a birthday or honeymoon, those type of things. So you can go to DetroitTravelCo.com. You can follow us on Instagram and Facebook at DetroitTravel.co. So it's going to be DetroitTravel.
Okay, so it's two
Two
T's.
T's.
There we go. Love it.
Mm.
All right. Now, classic Detroit is different questions.
Okay.
Very first car, year, make, and model, year you got it.
My very first car was a bright red Toyota Camry, 2013. Got it in 2012. What did I? No, this was 2013. I got it in 2014.
Okay.
Take that back. I got it right when I got off deployment. I bought that car in cash, and they had no car note, nothing.
Okay.
I love that car.
Where was the first place you went when you got it?
I came back to Michigan. I went to Warren. It's a Toyota dealership right there on Warren and Van Dyke in 696.
Mm-hmm.
That's where I got my first car.
All right. Where did you drive? Where was the first destination?
I drove from Detroit back to Virginia because that's where I was stationed when I got off deployment.
Okay.
Mhm.
So you came back to the crib, got a ride.
Yep. So my godmom drove it back to Virginia for me, and I flew her back to Detroit.
Okay. There you go. That was your Detroit Travel Co. already started.
Yeah. Okay.
Hilarious. All right. So shout out to Auntie doing that.
Yes.
It was like, hey, don't be eating no.
That's my go-to.
Onions.
My godmama is my auntie too. She's my go-to. She's going to drop everything for me.
Be like, don't be eating no Funyuns in my new ride. I don't want to
No,
see no.
we was eating everything good. We was eating everything. I was passing her nuggets while she was driving. Passing her some French fries.
All right. You're the DJ at the end of the fireworks, Woodward and Jefferson. You get to play 2 songs. What songs you playing?
The hopeless romantic in me is playing Usher, You Got It Bad.
Okay.
Don't judge me.
There we go.
And the other song, I guess the East Side Turn Up in me is playing Jeezy, Way Too Gone.
I'm with it.
Okay.
Love Way Too Gone. I'm guessing you must have seen Usher live then.
No.
Oh man, with the travel experience.
No, because certain things I don't want to do unless I'm doing it with somebody else. I'm not doing.
I feel that.
Mm-mm.
I feel that.
I ain't trying to be looking like a single pick me out in the crowd. No, don't pick me.
Even though I can't say this, it is the online debate of like, if Usher comes up to your lady with fruit, it's like, hey Usher, what's going on, man?
I'm gonna look. Just give me the go. Say yes or no. Just tell me yes or no.
No bets.
I say I don't know. Do you want to see this or do you not want to see it?
Not at all. Not at all. Not at all, Mr. Raymond. Keep it moving. All right. So, all right. Last question. You could rename Woodward after one Detroiter. Who would it be and why?
If I can name Woodward, I would name it after. It was somebody like really. Oh, that's his name, Dennis Archer. Somebody from Detroit that I got to meet him as a kid. I got to meet his son as a kid. From what I could hear from teachers and family members, he was a very well-respected man in the city, in the metro area. So when I name it somebody, I don't know. He don't got his own airport.
Okay.
That was one good mayor we've had so far.
There you go. All right. So with that being said, thank you so much.
Oh,
Thank
you're
you so
welcome.
much.
Thank you for having me too. The
Yeah.
opportunity and the platform.
All day. All day. That being said, Detroit is different. Peace.